I'm now joined by members of Epiphany Productions, so do you guys mind introducing yourselves?
Hi! So as he said, we're Epiphany Productions and my name is Ruchi Baya. I'm the producer in this group.
Hi, my name is Nora El-Jerez. I am the director of Language of Cosplay.
Hi, my name is Daniel Jacob and I'm the sound designer for Language of Cosplay.
And I'm Chris James and I'm the music composer for the project. Yeah.
Alright, so obviously you guys referenced Language of Cosplay, I'm assuming that is your film. So can you guys give us a background to what Language of Cosplay is all about?
So Language of Cosplay is a short documentary which focuses on the subculture of cosplayers in the UAE. So we met with 6 different cosplayers, we met with an event organizer and even the co-creator of Iron Man to kind of give their take on what cosplay is, you know, what the community is like, and also clear some of the misconceptions. Not everyone really knows what cosplay is. So we created this to kind of teach people about it. The entire project was actually community run. So all the photos and videos were sent over to us by the community. It was crowdfunded by the community as well. So we really tried to involve them. We had about like 100-something people involved in the creation.
A lot of community backing then. That
Yes.
must have been amazing to have that response rate.
Yes.
So when it actually came to obviously being a production team and it came down to choosing a topic for the film, what stood out to you about the idea of it being about cosplay? What stood out?
So when we were coming up, we wanted to do a documentary, but I think something that kind of struck us was when someone had mentioned like different ideas, someone had said cosplay, we all kind of realized, oh, we're at different points where, for example, I know about cosplay because I'm always at like different cons, but some members, for example, Ruchi really wanted to learn a lot more about cosplay. And there's some members of our team, for example, our editor and our graphic designer that are cosplayers themselves. So we thought this would be really cool to kind of like teach everyone about it and learn from each other.
All right, and when it came down to like, how do I frame this? Kind of like the backing of it. So obviously it was a lot of crowd involvement, but when it came to your personal inputs into it, what was that process for you actually in terms of the creation of it?
So for this one, do you want to answer? You were like about to say something, so.
No, I don't.
Don't be shy.
Can you ask the question again?
Right.
I didn't understand it.
So what was it like in terms of creating the short film when it also came down to the different backgrounds you guys are working on? Because I'm assuming that not all of you guys are studying the same exact course here.
Yes, okay. So with that, we're actually 4 film students, 1 graphic designer and 2 audio students. So that's like a very big collaboration.
Exactly.
And the thing that Nora already mentioned is there are some cosplayers within the group, but some of us are not. So for me, example, this was, as much as I love making films, this was also a learning phase for me. I was learning a lot about cosplaying. She took me to like different cons and started explaining to me, okay, Ruchi, look, that is a character, you know, this is what people do. And that's how I started understanding that, okay, this is cosplay. So my interest was fully in, you know, running and like producing this project. So that was amazing. Right now our film is actually touring the film festivals domestically and internationally. And just recently, thank you. I just recently we've won an award in Elaine Film Festival. We won the Best Jury Award. So, yeah. So
I mean, hey, winning an award in any festival in that particular is still a major achievement, especially when you're still in university.
yeah, so that's what this is like. You know, our start, and we're gonna do a lot more. We're working also on future projects, but yeah, that was the first.
And what about for you guys? I'm assuming your roles in this, especially being the music composer and the audio composer, has to have had a major like shift in terms of what they would have been doing as well.
Yeah.
So what was your experience in the making of it?
So for me, at least, my whole process is very different from any of theirs. Mine was like the chillest process. It was just binging like anime, cartoon, movies. I was just watching.
Excuse me? Were you doing your project?
I mean, the whole idea was to get the references, get the ideas.
Quite some references.
Yeah, because so the thing is, while I'm making the music for like, the way we made music was we needed music which resonated with each of the cosplayers on the documentary. So if I make like music for someone, it doesn't really resonate if I just like go like without even like doing any bit of research. And as you know, the best research is just watching the stuff what they like to watch, because they're just trying to portray characters from those kind of shows. I watched JoJo's because one of the cosplayers was a huge fan of JoJo's. I'm like, I watched it before, but I just watched it again just to like get the whole vibe again and make music.
That is one way to reference. There
Yeah.
certainly is.
So-
But not gonna lie, your research setup sounds like my Saturday night.
Yeah. I mean, it was a very fun way to research, but like at the end of the day, it's also very different from how you generally watch. Like when I watch stuff, generally just passive watching.
Yes.
But here I'm actively like paying attention.
You're trying to
every
pinpoint
detail.
every detail.
Yeah. Like why does it sound like this? Why does this actually like sound nostalgic? Stuff like that.
Was there any point during, the prep for you, being the musician behind it, where you got to a point where you needed to almost create a different style instead of having to rely on the information that you learned?
I think the biggest thing was working on the theme for Batman. Because like there's so many different scores for Batman.
Yeah.
And like the thing is when you're working on a score to actually show Batman, there's this particular sound, right?
Yeah, I can get what you mean. You don't
Yeah,
really
yeah.
know what it is, but you can.
There's a particular sound, everyone recognizes it. But if I like get too close to it, everyone knows it's a ripoff. And I have to just stray far enough from it that people recognize it's Batman, but not really a particular score. So I think that was exactly like the hardest point for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about for you? I'm assuming being the audio master of it, the fight might have been hard in itself.
Oh man. I think during like the production stage, I had to do a lot of research regarding the recording because most of the cosplayers came in their own cosplay outfit. So putting the mic and getting the levels correctly, and with the background around as well, because we were recording it in places where there would be people coming in and out.
Heavy crowds.
Yeah. So to clean all of that and to add in the music and everything with that itself, it was a learning experience. So yeah.
And during that entire process, obviously, even though being the audio specialist, you obviously had to deal with a little bit of the video aspect of it as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, syncing everything in.
Yeah.
So, throughout that entire setup, what do you think for any other future, audio specialists, would you recommend to them to focus on, just so they don't get stray from their thought process? A bit difficult to answer. I mean, you're clearly looking like an expert at it. That's why I'm asking.
I'm not quite sure how to answer that.
Probably people just find it their own ways.
Yeah, I mean,
everyone has their own ways to do it. But from what we've seen, I think honestly the best thing we'd say is record your stuff properly and make sure you'll actually pay attention to what you're recording. Because we actually I sat with him when he was working on the audio, and a huge issue we had was a lot of noise. Yeah, especially from the cosplays.
Like what, the costumes itself make noise?
because Batman itself, whenever he wears leather gloves and all that, so whenever he's talking also, he's constantly rubbing his palms and all that. So it just shows up onto the mic as well.
So it all comes down to also adapting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's the thing.
Anyways, thank you so much for coming on, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. That's it.